Hi, awesome fourth graders. We are going to work backwards from what you did yesterday, and we are actually going to do changing fractions back into decimals. I've used some words previously when we've written fractions. You'll remember the word vinculum. So what we're going to talk about today is the word out of, and this out of also means divided by. So 31, if you got 31 out of 50 on a test, what decimal does this represent? Okay, so if we look here, 31 out of 50, you would write 31 with the vinculum out of 50. This vinculum actually means divided by. In fact, if you just drew the vinculum and you put a dot here and a dot here, it is actually a division symbol. So what that means is 31 divided by 50 parts. And we are going to have a fraction part. So what I'm going to do here is 50 does not go into 31, but it does go into 310 6 times. So that's 300. And then I have 10 left over. So 50 goes into 100 2 times. So the answer to 31 divided by 50 is 0.62. Later we'll figure out that this actually means you got a 62%, which is not all that great on that test, but that's what it is. So you got 0.62 of the questions right. So what does 1/4 really mean? It means 1 divided by 4. Or 1 divided by 4. Let's try this one. A lot of you know this because of money. 4 does not go into 1, but 4 does go into 10 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. Subtract 2, bring down the 0. 4 goes into 20 5 times. You get the 20. So we get 1/4 is the same as 25 hundredths. So to go through what we just learned up here, to write a fraction as a decimal, you simply divide the numerator by the denominator. So I would like you to try 1/2, 4/5, and 3/8. Pause the video. I'm going to put the corrections up and you can see if you got them right. The corrections up. Number 1, 1/2 is equal to 0.5. Number 2, 4/5 is equal to 0.8, and then 3/8 finally is 0.375. If you missed any of those, please go through my work down below to make sure you've got the concept figured out. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to write 15 2/5 as a decimal. So step 1, we're going to divide 2 by 5, which I did right over here. And I got a 0.4. My step 2 is to add the whole number to it. So it simply is 15.4. Easy enough. You just write the whole number, you tack it on the front. The only one that you really have to do that dividing is with the fraction. So what we have right here is this comes out evenly. So it is called a terminating decimal. What that means, and I'm going to move this so you can see it a little bit better, what that means is that the decimal actually stops. It ends. It comes out evenly. A repeating decimal is a decimal that could keep going till the cows come home. It will go on for infinity. So 1/3, a lot of you know, ends up being 0.33333, repeating. How do we write that in math terms? We put a little hat on the 3. That is a repeating bar, and that says that this is 0.3 for eternity. This one has a 2-number repeating pattern, so I would write 2.01 repeating. Notice this one though, the 4 is there, but then the 205 repeats. You do not put the hat or the repeat bar over the 4, just the 205, just the piece that repeats. So as we go through, we're going to try 7/6 as a decimal. Let me bring this up. And I've done the arithmetic or the division below here. What I did was I said, okay, what is 7 divided by 6? And this time 6 does go into 7 one time. 1 times 6 is 6. There's your 10. So now I have subtract the 6 and I get 4, bring down the cows come home 0, and 6 times 6 is 36, and I subtract, I get 4, I'm going to bring down the cows come home, I'm going to get 0, uh-oh, I'm going to see a 6, 6 times 6 is 36, and I'm going to get 4, I could add another cows come home 0, I am going to get 6s for the rest of my life. Okay, so if I were to express this to a bunch of mathematicians, all I need to do is say it's 1.16 repeating just over the 6. The 1 does not repeat, just the 6's do. So I am going to right now turn you loose, and I want you to try 5 2/5, 3 5/8, and then 2/3. Write those 3 as a decimal and then unpause the video and see if you've gotten them correct. I will put my work off to the side. All right, so if you got 5.4 is the same as 5 2/5, you are correct. If you got 3.625 is the same as 3 5/8, that is correct. And if you got 2/3 is a 0.6 repeating, you are correct. If you have any trouble with any of these, please rewind the video and go through it one more time. The biggest takeaway is remember that this is simply a divided by, and say it out loud. This is 5 divided by 8. So when you do this, do 5 divided by 8. This top number, the numerator, goes in the garage. And maybe we can put that down at the bottom. Numerator in the garage. Sometimes kids mess that up. That's the number you're trying to slice and dice into those number of pieces at the bottom. Please do see me if you have any questions. Some of these can get tricky. You have to have really nice long division skills in order for this to work, which is why we worked so hard on it previously in the year. Do careful work. Kill a tree. On quizzes and tests, I do expect to see your work to prove your thinking. Thanks, everyone. Have a great assignment.